Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about how to manifest anything you want in 24 hours or even less. I'm going to get into this, give you guys an overview of how this is actually possible to do with your manifestation or anything that you want to manifest in your reality. So I'm going to get into all of this, all the steps that are included and how you can actually do this. So you do want to stay tuned to hear all of my advice. And right before we jump straight into it, I do want to pop on screen for anyone who's new or anyone who's considering, because I've been getting loads of new viewers lately, so thank you very much. But for my coaching services or getting your own personal manifestations resolved and clarified and getting that extra support, you can do all of that starting from just $8.99 a month through my membership all the way up to one-to-one coaching services. So pause the video or click the link in the description box or click the join button right below the screen if you're interested in this. And now let's get into the video. A quick story of how I actually applied this myself, and that was part of my inspiration for today's video. I actually did this myself. So my Wi-Fi and broadband, which is literally imperative for my career, for my channel, went out, and it went out for a very long time, on and off, and it was really, really annoying. It would switch on and then I'd have to reset it, and it was just a bit of a mess. So I decided obviously to apply manifestation. I was like, I cannot keep having this issue. I don't want to start uploading a video or doing something, especially my client work. Like this is not okay. I need it to be resolved, and I'm not going to call up the company and try and get them to resolve it. No, that could take too long. So even though obviously solutions were being made, like in the physical reality, I applied manifestation and I started doing affirmations, and luckily I did actually calculate more or less how many times I looped it. So this was obviously like a smaller manifestation, something that I didn't have a lot of resistance to. It's realistic for this to be resolved and come to me quickly within a few hours. So again, it's similar to the examples I'll give you guys, but what I did essentially was I affirmed to about 2,000 times in a day, and it was in the morning because I had things I needed to get done that day, and I was like, this is going to be the final time that this happens, and it's getting resolved now, immediately, period. So for the morning, I probably took about 2 hours of my day. Well, not like just sitting affirming, but multitasking and just focusing on that alone and just like putting all my other manifestations aside. 2,000 times I looped my affirmation about my Wi-Fi is permanently fixed right now, isn't it wonderful? And I just said it about 2,000 times the entire morning, and I also recorded affirmations to listen overnight because it had been on and off. So I thought, let me just kind of speed up this whole process and not have to take out time of my day to worry about this and try and fix it. And I just listened overnight as well, which I think helped as well, because it was on a very low volume, but overnight listening to the affirmation probably did help as well, all of it together, and all of that focus and attention literally brought my Wi-Fi back at the exact time. The company was like, you know what, you might get your router and like the Wi-Fi might come back at exactly this time. It was 2:39 p.m. and what happens? 2:40 p.m. is here, and I look and I start getting notifications on my phone again. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it literally worked perfectly, exactly as I needed it to. At 3 p.m. I needed my Wi-Fi back, and I got it at exactly the time they said it would potentially be back. So it's not that they were working on and fixing it. They said, this is the earliest availability, it might come back, and it hadn't worked previously. And I was affirming and affirming and affirming, and that was the best case scenario I wanted. I was like, by this time, it's going to be back. That's what I want. And it came back at the exact moment I said it would. So before anyone tries to get negative, or not you guys, not my viewers and LOA coaching darlings, sometimes I get people questioning my manifestations. No, it's not that the company just happened to fix it. They literally kept pushing it back and were saying, well, it might be this point, there's an issue, all these different things. And I know it was the manifestation. So that is how I personally applied this method. So for anyone who obviously you don't have to, or particularly probably want to, create a brand new manifestation or desire. So one thing you can do is, let's say it's an SP manifestation, you can take what you're creating now, whether it's a text, a date, a relationship, and work in steps. So take one element of that where you have less resistance, obviously, so it can manifest in 24 hours. Let's say a text message, or maybe some form of social media communication. These are pretty simple, common steps along the way, and things that we would rely on anyway nowadays. So you can pick a smaller element. So I would definitely recommend working in steps. You can do this for anything, but just for the you know, the way your mind works, and for you to mentally and realistically be able to manifest this in 24 hours or less, I would say lower it a little bit to something with less resistance and not the full end result, and then work on that for 24 hours. One thing you want to do is you want to prioritize this above every other manifestation and technique. So if you're also doing affirmations for different areas of your life, different topics, prioritize this. I'm not saying you can't work on that because you're always manifesting, so you can be on a mental diet at the very least. But you know, for the morning or maybe the entire day, you might want to just take a full break and just focus on that. Prioritize any other technique, any other method, anything else you'd be working on with your manifesting to focus your mental attention and affirmations and the one technique on just looping the affirmations for this one step. So what I personally did and what I recommend is with affirming. It's the easiest, it's the quickest. You can do it at any point in your day, anywhere, like whether it's in your mind or out loud at home, whatever it is. And you can absolutely just use robotic affirming, mindlessly affirm your affirmations. So let's say it's a text message from your SP and your overall affirmations are marriage or a relationship or just something that involves commitment and is a little more significant to you. And you know, the step you can take from that could be a message, right? So then you would just, you know, spend your entire morning, or you can also just obviously break it up throughout the day. So you do your same increments of affirming, whether you set a timer for 10 minutes or you just count it and, you know, count it on an app on your phone or something. Sometimes I do that. That's how I knew I got to 2000 for mine. And then just to a significant amount. There's no rule about it has to be 10,000 or 3 hours or anything. Just to an amount where you feel good, you don't spiral, you don't question it, you feel balanced, you feel okay, you feel the resistance is breaking down. It just feels really normal to say that affirmation now. You know, it could be 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 loops. It could be the whole day, as often as you can. You're just basically, the more you can mindlessly loop throughout your day, multitasking, getting other things done where you're able to concentrate on affirmations as well, would be perfect, would help a lot, really speed things up, because you're not having to take loads of time out, stress over it, focus on it. You're just kind of telling your subconscious mind what to believe and what to think, and saturating it with loads of repetition, but you're not really focusing on it. So you're really just going about your day, but you're actually subconsciously making huge shifts in the way you think. And I didn't fully believe it. That's another point as well, how I personally applied it and how most of my manifestations come together. I don't believe it. I don't believe that I already have it. I don't feel super confident in it. You know, I'm not thinking 100% positively about it. I still think somewhat logically and realistically, but clearly the way I consciously think, the looping of my affirmations and mentally focusing on and repeating as if I already have it, takes over the subconscious mind more so than anything negative. So alongside the actual affirmations and looping is also your mental diet, the way you think about the topic of your desire, even if it's going in smaller steps, is going to make a huge impact. Because yes, you can, you know, spend an hour of your day robotically affirming and just saying this one phrase over and over, and it does make progress, it does create movement and shifts. But then if you're constantly looking at your phone or something, some source of information, whether it's even just a conversation with someone in your life, that would potentially give you negative information or remind you of a lack, then you're just reverting back to the normal way of thinking, the old version, the version where you still have the lack, right? Because you're asking for confirmation, you're asking for change, you're asking for validation and reassurance, or you're not trusting in yourself and manifesting by constantly and, you know, maybe coming out of a state of impatience, you're constantly checking. So for me as well, I did constantly check my Wi-Fi connection. I was not constantly, and I did do it a lot less as I repeated more, and I just felt like the manifestation would probably come true in that way, the way I wanted it to, but I didn't fully believe it. So I was still checking for my Wi-Fi a little bit, but in the same way, you know, you might still check your phone a little bit or recognize logically and realistically, oh, I haven't received the message yet. But then you just go straight back into looping your affirmations. So I would say overall, that's another part of your mental diet and the way you actually think about it throughout the day for those 24 hours. Don't check for updates, don't check for results, don't try and see what's changed. Try to minimize that to the best of your ability, and if you can't, or if you just get this urge to constantly check or you keep thinking about it, try and apply like a actual verbal mental diet, meaning with an affirmation that is used as your mental diet. One thing that I also did, like I said, I did have some confidence and some belief that obviously there's a realistic chance my manifestation would work in the time frame I wanted it to, but I didn't know for 100%. Obviously, I didn't believe it yet, because if I did, then it probably would have manifested hours earlier. However, just accept it as a fun challenge. Take it on as just a 24-hour challenge. See where you can go, see how much your mind can shift. Maybe this extra step comes in that period, maybe it doesn't. Don't put too much pressure on it or yourself. It's not a countdown, it's not a, you know, you're not on a TV show trying to win money, you're not in front of an audience. It's just for you and your personal growth and personal gain. So just accept it as like a fun challenge that you're going to try out for yourself, just to see how much progress and results actually come from this. Even if it doesn't fully physically manifest, that's also okay. So yeah, just try and release some of that stress that you might apply to your manifestation. Alongside that, I didn't have too much pressure or resistance to it, because I also just told myself, if it doesn't come back at this time, I have alternatives. I kind of had a plan for what I would do and how I would work around it. So I wasn't so attached and stressed and like dependent on my manifestation coming true. So I also was a little more laid back, and also probably why I wasn't constantly checking for results. But remind yourself that whatever result does come about, it's not catastrophic. If your SP doesn't text you today, it's okay. If your physical appearance doesn't change today, it's okay. If you don't get the text you want, it's okay. Anything that would be, you know, what you're manifesting, the smaller step that you're working towards and affirming for, it doesn't have to physically manifest within the 24-hour period or by the end of your day. So whenever you start it, it's okay if you're not seeing the physical movement or the physical change come in. So remind yourself, it's not catastrophic, it's not worst case scenario, you'll just continue with your day as you normally were regardless. So try and remind yourself and have that kind of mindset, because it is going to make it a lot easier and way more likely for it to fully manifest. So by doing all that, you're going to remove it off the pedestal, whether it's an actual person like your specific person that you want a relationship with, or whatever goal it is. It might be completely intangible and kind of inanimate object, or it kind of invisible change in your life, you could say. You're taking it off the pedestal. You're not holding your happiness as an attachment to that, and you're not interconnecting your happiness and, you know, value in life to achieving this one manifestation. So remember again that your life is still good without it. You can use that as your mental diet affirmation. Whether or not this fully manifests, my life is great without it. My life is great either way. Keep reminding yourself that it's not the end of the world. Maybe in 48 hours, you can keep working on it and it will manifest fully then. Don't put so much pressure on it. That's going to make this a lot easier, a lot simpler, and you're not going to waver as much. The resistance is going to be a lot lower if you keep holding on to this more positive, optimistic mindset. And of course, the final point that's super important is to persist. Be consistent, keep persisting with the affirmation, keep looping it to the best of your ability. The more consistent you can be, the more times that you can more or less count in terms of an actual time frame or number of the value of, you know, the amount of times you've looped the affirmation, the total value of that, whatever it is. If you can get a general idea and you know, okay, I've spent a significant amount of my time focusing my mind on this and telling myself it's already true, then that is you persisting. That is putting in a great amount of effort and work, and it's definitely shifting your mindset. So it probably will manifest in that time frame, but I'm very excited for you guys to test this out. It is a method that I like to do when I'm on somewhat of a time crunch and I want something and need something that would, you know, make things easier, or there's a lack or something's gone wrong and I want to fix it. This has worked for me a lot, so I wanted to make a whole video for you guys as well. And I'm going to leave this video here, and I hope you guys enjoyed that, found it useful. Do come back and comment if you test this out and it works for you or you get progress. I'd love to hear your feedback and, you know, how you applied my advice from this video. And yeah, do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell if you did enjoy. If you want more of these kind of videos and slightly more niche ways of manifesting, then yeah, leave a comment and stay tuned for next week's video, but I post quite frequently now, so it'll be a couple days from now. And yeah, I'll see you guys then. Bye!